Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markle. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markle.
Hello, welcome back to Morning Mindset. And if you're listening to this in the morning, either the sun has just risen or you're waiting for it to rise, and hopefully you're drinking a delicious hot coffee beverage if that is your bag, man. If it's not your bag, man, well, then I don't know what else to tell you. Drink some tea or something. Welcome to the Morning Mindset Podcast. And today we're going to talk about defeating the darkness. Yes. As I sit down in my studio to record this episode, we just had the roll back the clocks weekend. We just fell back to standard time. That's right. We were on, I know that not everyone on planet Earth and not every state, but where I live, we do daylight savings time. And whether or not you're in favor of it or it doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is we just rolled them back, and we're back on standard time now. And also in the Northern Hemisphere, in the United States of America, we're on that journey, that annual journey around the sun. And what does that mean? It means that the days are now shorter and the darkness is longer. And in the Northern Hemisphere, as I'm speaking the words into this microphone, every single day gets shorter and shorter and shorter until we change seasons and they start getting longer again. But what do we do? What is a natural human condition? Every year in the wintertime, as the days start to get colder and the nights get longer, what do we have? We see the local channel news. News Channel 5 does a how to survive the winter doldrums and so on and so forth. And that is important. It is important that we physically take care of ourselves, that we get enough nutrition, that we get enough vitamins, because, we're not seeing the sun as much. It's cold. Our bodies, and when the temperature is cold, it's harder for your body to physically fight against the, illnesses and so forth. So you need to keep yourself warm. You need to keep yourself healthy, hydrated, make sure you're drinking enough water and so on and so forth. And that's something that's pretty common every year. We do that. We talk about how to survive in the winter survival plan from tonight on News Channel 11 or what have you. News Channel 12 tonight at 11. How to survive the winter doldrums. And basically it's the same advice that they regurgitate every single year. If you've been on the planet as long as I have, you know that your local News Channel 5 on your side, they have seasonal stories, and every year they trot out the same story. They might have a different person deliver it, and they might, put in a pop culture reference or something, but basically it's the same story. Like, for instance, the daylight savings thing. Since I was in high school, there have been op-eds and opinion pieces and so forth. Every time we change the clocks, they roll a story. They run a story about, isn't it time to just go ahead and eliminate daylight savings time? Or, daylight savings time was an idea invented, concocted by Benjamin Franklin to save whale oil, and we don't use whale oil anymore, so who cares? And or daylight savings time was put in place for farmers, and most people aren't farmers, so who cares? Every year, the same story over and over again, and that's the same thing we get every year when it's darker. Now, you may live in the South where it's not really that cold, but it's colder. I've lived in the South, and it gets down into the 40s and 30s sometimes. And but the days definitely are shorter, and it is darker. And so we talk about, what can we do? How can we keep ourselves physically healthy during the winter, during the darkness? There's another type of darkness that enters our lives. It's an emotional darkness. Now, like the winter, like the actual genuine season of winter that is dark and cold, it's not there forever. It doesn't last all the time. Eventually, and it's not Game of Thrones where we're going to have, 18 years of winter. I don't know what planet they live on in Game of Thrones, but it's obviously not planet Earth because they have winters that last for decades. No, our winters don't last that long. Even if you live in the north, even if you live in the mountains, it still doesn't last forever, even though it seems like it might. But we also experience, on occasion, we experience an emotional darkness. We experience dark times in our lives where we feel internally that we're living in darkness, whether or not there's actually visible light in front of us or the sun is out or what have you. We feel like we're living in darkness. And the truth of the matter is some of the advice that is given to us every fall when we change the clocks and the days start getting shorter and the nights get longer, we get the advice about, take vitamins, take multivitamins, use a tanning bed, go to the gym and do things like that. And the truth of the matter is, if you're experiencing a time of emotional darkness, which is very natural, and it happens to just about everyone at some point in time in their life, I'm sure it happens to everyone. It may not be happening to you right now, or it may. You may be in an emotional winter. Now, I'll tell you this, that winter doesn't last forever, even in the north, even in Michigan, even in Montana. It doesn't last forever. But we still have to deal with it, don't we? Just because winter's not going to last forever, we don't open our windows and turn off our heaters and say, well, in 3 months this will be over, so no big deal. We still have to deal with it. Many of the same techniques that people talk about for dealing with the physical, realistic seasonal winter and darkness will help you if you're going through a period of emotional darkness. For instance, one of the things that we have, myself and the shows that I do, when I say we, have suggested is keeping your mind active and strong. And how do we keep our minds active and strong? Well, we don't keep our minds active and strong by sitting in front of a television and letting it talk to us. We keep our minds active and strong through education. We keep our minds active and strong through reading. We keep our minds active and strong through exposing ourselves to information and ideas that we may never have before, to new ideas, to new information, reinforce old ideas and old information that we've known. Strengthening your mind through reading. Strengthen your body through exercise. Legitimate, real, physical exercise. And no, walking back and forth to the kitchen to get coffee is not exercise, okay? Exercise has to be real, planned, and deliberate. It has to be something that you're doing other than your normal routine. Getting up from your desk, walking to the break room, pouring coffee, and walking back to your desk 7 times during the day is not exercise. So stop trying to tell me it is, okay? If you're experiencing emotional darkness or emotional winter, make sure that you actually are consuming good food, not a bunch of carbohydrates, sugar, and crap. Make sure that you have enough protein in your diet. Make sure that you have enough fiber. I know I sound like a commercial, but the truth of the matter is you need it. Make sure your diet is good. Make sure you're doing things. And I know you may not want to. That's the hardest thing about winter and the cold and the darkness is you don't want to. You want to wrap up in a blanket, lay on the couch, and just stay there until the sun comes back out again. But laying there under a blanket isn't going to make the sun come back out. It's not going to help you. You're going to have to make yourself do it. You're going to have to make yourself do the physical exercise. You're going to have to make yourself stimulate your mind through reading or whatever. We talk about winter projects and hobbies. occupying your hands and your mind through projects, through physical activities, doing things. I don't care if it's knitting, sewing, build and model airplanes. I don't care. Do something. Do something deliberate. And before you know it, and that's the great thing about winter projects and keeping yourself busy physically and mentally, if you do that, pretty soon the winter will be over, the darkness will be over, and the sun will come back out again. So you can defeat the darkness, and it's not there forever. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for me. I went just over 10 minutes today. I hope you will forgive me. I am your host, Paul Markle. I will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markle, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.